Yo, what is going on, everyone? Sorry for being a little late here tonight. Had a little technical difficulties with some lighting and stuff like that. But let's go over because today was let's start out. Today was a decent day for the Pac-12. We still got some games going on. I'm a little behind on my own watching, but uh, you look at Washington State going into Badger Stadium, Camp Randall getting the win. What a game. That was a really, really good game. USC and Stanford came down to the wire to a degree. Stanford kind of shot themselves in the foot a bunch, but that was a really good game. Uh, Arizona, Mississippi State is still ongoing right now, and it's a really good game right now. And I know Oregon State and Fresno State are ongoing. So Pac-12 having a good showing tonight, I think overall, which is actually really important for the conference as a whole, but especially these individual teams. But of course, this is the Oregon post-game show. So let's get into exactly what we came here to talk about. That was Eastern Washington at Oregon. And I think this game, for the most part, went exactly how we, as Duck fans, wanted it to go, if not even better. Um, so we're going to start off one immediately. Of course, I love the uniforms. The uniforms were, it was a nice change up. The yellow with the black wings. That was sleek, but as usual, uh, always a good look in Autzen Stadium. Just to be back in Autzen Stadium for the homecoming game, that was amazing. And of course, the audience, the crowd, the noise is just as real as you would expect it to be. So, props to every fan that was there. I know our guy here through Voice of College Football, especially our Patreon for Mark, Eric, he was live at that show or at the game. Sorry. He was live there, so that's why he's not doing the post game right now because he was live there. I see. I don't know, Mikey, if you were at that game or not, or if you were at home watching it. But regardless, I'm sure either way, you are as excited as anyone to see the outcome. You know, just to see how that game came down to. And same with you, Tony. Um, you know, I think we expect this game to. This is exactly how we expected it to come out and play out, but it turned out probably better than we expected. So let's go over. My notes are a little all over the place. I actually had notes on one page. I had notes on another page for later in the game. So yeah, it kind of got a little messed up. But yeah, the odds and atmosphere, of course, amazing. Night game, always gotta love it. Uh, let's just look at it. First drive, for instance, up tempo, Winnington running the ball looked great. Fourth down, we went for it. There was some miscues, but Ferguson had that touchdown catch with a nice stiff arm. Uh, you know, looked great. Second drive, Knicks. I mean, we had touchdown drives. Like I think it was 7 out of 7 drives we have touchdowns. It was absolutely amazing, and it's the same thing, just like last week with Georgia. A bunch of different looks. We had a bunch of read options. You know, obviously our passing was on point this game. Something I needed to look up was the actual official box scores, or I don't want to say box scores, but official stats for the game. But I was waiting for them to load because, of course, the Pac-12 network. I actually just got it today. That's why I was able to watch this game. So I was waiting for the official scores to show because they were showing some stats, but they hadn't fully loaded yet. And I still don't think these stats are correct. It says total yardage, Oregon 537, Eastern Washington 79. I don't think that's correct. I'm sure Eastern Washington had a few more yards than that. But the overall final score of the game was 70-14, which is amazing. I think that's what we all wanted to see. Yes, exactly. There were some really good plays in this game, not just offensively but defensively. And I think this is exactly that type of game that we needed to see from this team. One, for the coaching staff to go, okay, what do we do? Schematically, we work on it. Offensively and defensively, everyone, all the players and staff, build confidence, refocus, and execute. And that's what we needed to see. And this is exactly that type of game we needed to have. And Eastern Washington is no slouch of a team. Don't sleep on Eastern Washington. They are, or well, they might not be now, but they were ranked number 11 in the entire FCS. And we played Eastern Washington before, back in 2015, after the year after Vernon Adams, when he transferred to us from Eastern Washington, and they put up 42 on us. And the year before, with Vernon Adams, Eastern Washington beat Oregon State at Corvallis. So let's not forget, Eastern Washington, rather, I apologize. Eastern Washington is not a slouch of a team by any means. They are a well-coached team. Their coach, Coach Best, I believe it is in his 6th season as the head coach there. So they are still under a significant head coach, but their staff, I believe their DC and their OC are first year this year. So we'll see what happens with them, but they're a solid team. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that we had over 600 yards. I mean, we had 70 points on the board. I was actually amazed. Everything kind of the foot got taken off the gas, after a while. So I think the stats haven't fully updated. That's why I was looking again, but yeah, I'm sure they haven't updated. So I'll be looking for that. But I mean, I don't think you can ask much more of a better performance other than maybe a shutout. But 70-14, the final score. That's better than I anticipated. I kind of went with 45-17. So 70-14, I'll take it. That showed that all cylinders of the offense and the defense were clicking. Of course, it's a road game for Eastern Washington, so it's a little overwhelming for them. But their quarterback, Talkington, I think it is, Gunnar Talkington, he's a 5th-year senior, so he shouldn't be overwhelmed by the situation. But regardless, amazing showing. Exactly. That's the point. This is the spark. This was that point. This was that type of game we needed to refocus, recenter ourselves, and just execute the game plan and change maybe some scheme, or just everyone work together to, get all of that aligned compared to last week, which we will not talk about because I don't want to remember that anymore because I had to talk about it for an hour after the fact. And I would just like to forget that memory. But this was exactly that type of game we needed to have for a nice bounce back, especially because next week we have BYU coming into town. And BYU, regardless of what is happening tonight with them in Baylor, BYU is not a slouch of a team. They are a good team. We won't go into a whole lot of what Baylor is because that's not what the point of this show is. But remember, Oregon interviewed Sataki from Baylor, or from BYU, I apologize. Sataki from BYU for the head coaching job. So that shows the type of person that he is as a coach, a mentor, and all of that. So that's not going to be an easy game, but this is that type of game we needed to refocus, centralize ourselves again, and figure out little schematic things, because that was the one thing I thought tonight. I thought tonight was the one game like Eastern Washington. They like to throw the ball. They're kind of not full air raid, but they have not run the ball well. But I thought tonight might be that game where we got a little challenge on the outside, and we really didn't. And I think maybe schematically they figured it out because I thought Eastern Washington might throw it all over the place on us a little bit. So that was my biggest. That was probably my biggest worry. Um, One sack, yeah. I'd have to look up. I have to look back once the official stats came out because I know that we did have a sack, but I'm pretty sure there was a second one. Like I know we got two picks at least, two interceptions. One was almost a pick six, but they got tackled. Um, oh yeah, Bridges with the interception. He got tackled before the goal line, but he fumbled it and then got recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. Uh, Sack wise, yeah, I need to see if there was an official stat for the actual sacks. So we may have to wait for that to get uploaded. But again, I just got Pac-12 Network, so I'm kind of going on it. Don't sleep my app. I said it last week, I think. Why? There's no purpose in scheduling Appalachian State. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. I mean, look at last week. And then, of course, today, we don't need to go into that. But if you're in the number six team in the country at home with 101,000 people, you should not be losing to Appalachian State, even by 3. I'll give that one 50-50. I mean, it is Nebraska. So we won't go into that whole detail, though. Uh, well, that exactly. I actually clicked this and I didn't read it. But yes, exactly. This is why it's not worth it. You take the loss, you lose the rankings, and you get to pay them a ton of money. Whether it's 1.5 million, 900,000, 2 million, whatever it is, the point is you pay that school a lot of money to lose. So it's not worth it. Not App State. You could look at say BYU, whatever it is. Like it's not worth it. But as to the game tonight for the Ducks, it was very pleasant to see that type of offense and that defense. I mean, that offense pulled the gas back. We they took their foot off the pedal, probably around a little over halftime. Because at halftime it was let's see where halftime it was 42-7 Ducks. And the final again was 70-14. Third quarter, like 8 minutes left in the third quarter, Ty Thompson took over as quarterback. Again, I'm still not sure what to make of Ty Thompson. Bo Nix looked pretty good. Now, is that an improvement on the play calling or is that the competition? That is really hard to say. But I mean, you look at the whole positives of it. Late in the third quarter, the entire O line had been changed out to backups. I mean, so you're getting Thompson a lot of reps. You're getting our backup O lineman a lot of reps. Probably in the defense, they really didn't specify on the defense being changed out, but I'm sure there were a lot of changeouts, rotations being made. Because even Eastern Washington, they made that when they scored their 14 points, they made that late third quarter touchdown. And it was a battle with Hill in the end zone. And he came up, the Eastern Washington came up with it still, but they made the touchdown. But Hill was on it and he was battling for it and almost knocked it down. I thought it was incomplete at first, but well, and that's the thing is another thing, pressure. And still I don't think they were showing a lot tonight. I mean, no offense to Eastern Washington at all. Eastern Washington has been a solid team, so no offense to Eastern Washington at all. But I watched their game last week against Tennessee State. Tennessee State outrushed them by like 150 yards. And offensively, more than like 100 yards total offense against them. Eastern Washington was lucky to come out with that win. This is not the Eastern Washington of old, but they're still a solid team. So even FCS, they're still a solid team. So there should be no doubting them. But yeah, I don't know if we didn't put as much pressure as maybe we could have because of we didn't want to give anything away also to BYU. That's kind of how I felt with Georgia. It's like they kind of played it safe. Like they didn't want to show much. They didn't want to get blown out of the water, which with Georgia we did. But tonight was maybe a different story. So maybe the schematic is still in work and process, but it definitely was better. A lot better. And yes, yeah, BYU next week. That game is still ongoing. I have it. I was trying to watch it, but of course I was running late for this already. I was like, I have to, I have to do what I have to do. So I'll get back on that one. Yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. I won't even be able to watch that game next week. That's how much that sucks. I will be traveling out of town and busy that day. And unfortunately, I won't be able to watch it until the next day or the Monday morning. So, yeah, that sucks. So, depending on, just to touch on it, depending on how next week goes, if anyone else is able to cover the Oregon Live one, there might be a live post-game show following the BYU one, or there might not. It depends. Otherwise, I will do it Monday morning here on the Oregon channel for the Voice of College Football. It just depends. So we'll see. Otherwise, the live show will not be really a live post-game. It will just be a after-game review. But we'll get to that. We'll touch on that later if we need to. We'll deal with that next week. I just plans come up, you know that. But yeah. And that's the point. Knicks looked really solid. Again, I don't have the official numbers. I probably should have looked closer on the details, but Knicks was solid in this game. He made some really good throws. He made some some read option. He did some runs. The running game looked good. But yeah, Ty looked decent. I mean, I think it's hard to say if he's really good or not because you don't know at that point in the game what they're doing for the play calling. Like, are they backing off and not letting him really show his potential the whole time? Because again, I think he came in again late third quarter. He came in mid third quarter, but I know late third quarter the whole line had changed out. So at that point, what are they doing play call wise? Are they trying to run it? I think at that point again we had backed off of like trying to even bother to score because at that point I think it was 49 or 56-7. So again, are we even bothering at that point? So again, yeah, I just don't know what the play calling is like with him in, but it is important to get him reps. That's the big thing. We have not seen him in a lot of game time, so it is good. Yes, and that's it. With the O line changing out, Connerly especially got in to get some important reps because he was already practicing with the first team in the fall camp, in like as an emergency backup in sense of in case of injuries because the O line was already getting dinged up. And even tonight, Walk, I think he took some hits. It was a little dinged up or seemed to be a little, but he played. But yeah, Connerly getting some reps also as it's very important. Any of the O line getting all these reps because that's one of the that's our strength of the team, and we need that all that we can get. Oh, well, you've been away a lot longer from Oregon than I have been. Shit. Just Oregon or just Autzen? I guess that's the main question there, GWG. Because I myself, so if everyone knows, yes, lifelong Duck fan, grew up in Oregon, outside Portland, but I have not been back in the state of Oregon for 18 years. I think it's 19. Jesus, I'm old. Um, injury to, was there an injury to Cardwell? Maybe was that late in the game? Maybe that was really late in the game. The only injuries that I actually noticed was McGee. He was really slow to get up. Late in the third, I think it was. Late in the third, maybe early fourth. McGee was really slow to get up, but he got up on his own. But I don't think he was really injured. But did Cardwell get injured? Maybe I missed that. Maybe someone else can let me know. Oh, okay. Maybe McGee. Yeah, he seemed to get off the field okay. So I don't think there's a I don't think it was anything serious. He seemed to just be kind of like down on the ground a little bit and then he got up. So uh, yeah, it might have been just a cramp. I don't know. It was late in the third, early fourth, as I remember. So no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, GW. Yeah, that's why I was like, maybe I missed it with Cardwell, but I was like, I have it written down here. I was like, McGee injury question mark because yeah, he was slow to get up on that one play, but he seemed to get up okay, and I think it was maybe it was cramping, a little soreness, maybe who knows? Yeah, maybe rolled up on a little bit, but no word that I'm aware of on that end of it. Other than that, yeah, one thing that we have not had to deal with is injuries. That is a huge plus because, as we know, last year and years past, injuries have been a nightmare. I mean, last year, it was like every game, someone was going down before the game, during the game, whatever it was. It was just awful. So this year, everyone seems to be healthy and staying healthy throughout two games at least. I mean, let's put it that way. Throughout two games, everyone's maintaining themselves, so that's good. Um, if we want to look at just for some instances, look at again, like I said, I think we had 7 drives, 7 touchdowns, like no issues. Oregon defense, first series really good, second series really good, third series we had Gonzalez had the pick on the overthrow. The fourth series now, that's when Eastern Washington got the touchdown. Then it was the third quarter. Immediately, Bridges with the interception for the which was fumbled, but for the touchdown. So Bridges with the interception, he went for the return. He got fumbled in the end zone, but Oregon recovered for the touchdown. It's a little confusing to think about unless you saw it, because even I was confused. Um, what word? Don't say the word. The I word isn't a nasty. All right. So again, I will have to go back and look at official stats, but an interesting stat. I don't think this is accurate, to be honest. I think this is well exaggerated. There was a stat on shown on TV This is the Pac-12 network. This is not ESPN. This is the Pac-12 network. Missed tackles last week, 29. Now, what they consider missed tackles is questionable. One thing I noted, and I think a lot of us did notice, was missed tackles was an issue last week. So that's not arguable. Their stat on TV was missed tackles last week, 29 for 300 plus yards after contact. I don't know if that's exactly true. I would literally have to go back and watch that game and try to calculate that. But yeah, even if they said 15 for 100, I might be like, I can see it, because last week missed tackles, whatever you want to argue about it, were an issue. Tonight, even tripling what they said we had at halftime. If I said tonight we had 10 missed tackles, we'd only lost like 30 yards. Again, I don't know if those statistics are correct. I will have to go back and watch this game again, and then I have to go back and watch the Georgia game, which I really prefer not to. I'd like to just erase it from my memory, like most of us would like to do. But yeah, tackling tonight was much better, just from the game I watched. I don't know how many of you actually got to watch it. Like Mikey, like GWG, Mikey. Oh, there you go. I watched on the Pac-12. That was the first thing the announcer said at the start of the game. Yes, exactly. And then before halftime, they put out that stat about the tackles, which seems extreme in the amount of yards we gave up last week. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can see it, because the tackling last week was, it was not great. I don't know if Mikey got to see it. I just got Fubo today, trial mode. So I got to watch it, because I was like, I'm going to have to find a live stream, because no one has Pac-12 network, and I'm sick of missing games. But no, all in all, everything was, yes. That's the main thing. I mean, last week defense looked aggressive, but they weren't aggressive enough. Tonight, I don't want to even say the defense was like aggressive, like blitzing, but everyone seemed in position for the most part. Everyone seemed to just like be more in sync, and this is what that game was. I think it was schematically, team wise, communication, everything just kind of came together tonight and worked. I mean, and again, no offense to Eastern Washington, they are not a pushover team, but this is exactly what this team needed. And this is exactly what I think every Duck fan expected, if not even better. Because again, I think I was saying 45-17. I'd be like, cool. That's still a blowout, but 70-14, and we took our foot off the gas probably very early in the fourth quarter. We kind of just pulled back. Didn't need to score anymore, because I think they could have put up 80 plus, but they didn't need to, So that's respect for the coaching staff. But again, I'd have to look at the examples. Again, I don't think they brought a lot of pressure with Sewell or Flo tonight. I think they kind of left them out in run coverage and basic pass coverage. So once I'll go back and I'll look at the final details, I think that will be a little more clear, because it will be interesting to see the final stats after, say, the first three games, especially with BYU included. Each game, especially how much they pressured with them, or did they let them just be run coverage, run blitz type of guys. It really didn't seem like we blitzed a lot again tonight, really. like last week. It just seemed like we kind of were settling in coverage, which is good, but I don't know if they are intending to blitz more or if they're just intending to. It's hard to say. I'm not in Dan Lanning's mind or Josh Lepoy's. I'm not in their heads. I don't know if they're in each other's heads. So, but but yeah. The same. I agree with that exactly. Last week, we don't even need to talk about that. Last week, that was absolutely the worst. That was the worst thing I'd seen. Most painful thing I think I'd seen since. Uh, yeah, since 2010 2011 Auburn lost for the national title. Last week was the most painful thing I think I've seen since then. Despite all the other losses, that was by far the worst thing I'd ever seen. Like, just unbearable to watch. It was hard. And we've had other games that are terrible, but yeah, that was bad. But yeah, I think that's a big thing out of this game. One, defense looked good, offense working out systems. Ty getting a lot of reps. No injuries that we're aware of outside of McGee, but again, I think it was probably cramping, maybe cramping or a very minimal injury. Let's put it that way. So I don't think there'll be an issue there. I cannot read any of my writing here. I scribble down notes, and that's a bad thing because my handwriting is terrible. But yeah, I mean 7 for 7 like on offensive drives for touchdowns, and again, halftime it literally was 42-7. Final was 70-14. I don't think we can do a lot better than that. Again, they pulled off the dogs. They called us the dogs there late. So uh, outside of just running up the score, which we don't need to do. I mean, there's no purpose in doing that. You know, yeah, that's it. I don't recall how many times they actually sent pressure. It would seem like the Georgia game. Like there was a few plays they sent pressure, but it didn't seem like they needed to. And so I don't think they did because they didn't. Again, they didn't need to. So maybe they just don't want to show a lot these first few games. It's hard to say because I don't know what we're going to expect from BYU because that game is still ongoing. I have not seen it. Please do not post a score. I will not like it because I want to actually enjoy that game. I know it was the end of it was like mid second quarter, I think, when I went on here, which seems like a late game. Maybe it was later than that. I mean, it's almost midnight here, Central Time. So yeah, I'm Central Time. That's the that's kind of the unfortunate part. Some about the late West Coast games. You know, they this year. I mean, this is their only second game. I don't know right now. I would have to watch this game because I haven't seen it. This is only the second game. It seems like they're 50-50, but they always have a good ground game. But last year they had a really good passing game too. So I want to kind of say they're both. They're really good at both. That's what makes them difficult. Plus, they just have a lot of good guys. Now tonight, I know they said they're out. Their two top wide receivers, Puka and Nakoa. I think it was Puka and Nakoa. I think it was. So there it is. Yep. There it is. That's why I was like, they're pretty good at both. But yeah, also two receivers out. I think it's Puka and Nakoa that are out. Not Puka and Nakoa, but Puka and Nakoa. So And I think they're out. They said they're out tonight. They might be out next week, which could benefit the Ducks, but we don't even know if that was real for tonight. I wasn't watching that game. It's on record, uh, like literally right here on my TV. It's waiting for me. But yeah, no, they're supposed to be. I agree with Mikey. They're pretty good at both. Really good at passing. Really good at running. And when one takes a dip, like if they can't run, they pass. If they can't pass, they run. And they just balance each other out very nicely. Well, that's a fair point. I mean, that's a very fair point. But we don't know if they're going to actually be out. But that's why you look back at it as, regardless of this is why Oregon also interviewed. Oh, well, okay, I'll give it that. But this is exactly why the point. If two receivers are out, they balance it out the other way. This is why Oregon interviewed Sataki for the job, which when they said they were interviewing him for the head coaching job, I was kind of like, okay, I I'm in for that. He seems to be very energetic, loves his players, and seems to be developing them the way they do. To the best of his ability and the best they can be. So I was actually on board with that when they said they were interviewing him. Didn't work out, but I like Sataki. Sataki seems like a very good head coach. And BYU is very lucky to have him at this point in time. Puka Nacua. Well, yes, and I already commented on this. As I said, I wasn't sure. I saw the two receivers that were out earlier, and I was blanking on the second one, unfortunately. It wasn't on the highlight of my memory list today. But yeah, they're supposed to be out there two top receivers today, and maybe next week even. Uh, which again, we don't know if they really will be out, especially next week. Would that be a plus for Oregon? Well, of course. Will that help us entirely? No. BYU is a tough team. So we still have to be prepared for the passing attack and the running attack. But that's next week. That's next week, which we will just have to see how this goes with BYU and Baylor tonight. If it's over already, I don't want to know. I don't think it is because, again, I'm waiting to watch it. But next week, I will not be here to do the live post game for that. Someone else might be here on the Ducks channel. If they're not, I will do it on Monday morning live. So there will probably be no one watching. That's okay. But I'll do it on Monday morning if no one else does it for Saturday or Sunday because I'll be out of town. So, but let's look back one more time quickly here at Eastern Washington. I don't think we need to beat this on the ground. This is exactly what the team needed. We needed to have a recovery game. We needed to get refocused, balanced, and our confidence back, not just in the players, but the coaching staff and the fan base. And I think that's exactly what we saw tonight. Again, 42-7 at halftime, 70-14 is your final score. And I don't think that you could ask a whole lot more of the team. I mean, you could argue like, oh, you should have poured it on more. Fine. But is there a point? Point is, you got your team a lot of reps. You got them valuable time, and you got them to get experience. And most importantly, you didn't allow injuries. I think that's the biggest thing that you have to take away from this game. And that's important in the future coming up. I that that's again as another good point tonight. Again, like last week, there was not a lot of like heavy blitzing, and I actually kind of expected a little bit more out of Lanning and Lupoi together. Was a lot more schematic blitzing. Now, I don't know if they're waiting. They're holding on to these types of scenarios because there wasn't a lot against Georgia. There was a few, pressure blitzes, pressure packages and stuff like that. But are we waiting for when we really need it, kind of thing? I don't know. I'm the same with you. I'm waiting to see when we're gonna just let everyone loose, like on these major blitzes. But uh, yeah, Mikey, you know, yeah, one Whittington. I think I have to kind of agree. Whittington looked really good tonight. And just like here, GW, Whittington and Irving looked really good. Cardwell was in there a little bit, but he really wasn't. And Dollars came in randomly. They are rotating the running backs a lot. And I don't know if that's on purpose or they're still just trying to figure out who meshes best in certain situations or formations. I have no answer to that because they are just continuously rotating all like five of them. I mean, again, we have 5 or 6 running backs, so they're just using them all. Of the everyone got time tonight. Everyone got time tonight. Yeah, no, I mean, there was at least 5 that rotated tonight. Cardwell didn't. I didn't even hear Cardwell's name until like I think mid-second quarter. I don't think really. I don't think I did. Whittington was he seemed to take the first steps, or at least he got the first major rushes of the game, major handoffs, anyways. Cardwell came in like mid-second quarter. And then Dollars was in like third and fourth. Uh, And then, yeah, McGee was in, and then, of course, he got hurt, but he was receiving. But I think he did some handle. Yeah, they are rotating everyone. I mean, Whittington did a good last week. Even he was in the first series against Georgia last week. I still have notes on that first Oregon offense. First drive, decent. Whittington, hard running. I'm literally looking at my notes from last week for that first drive against Georgia, and Whittington ran pretty hard. So tonight he continued to show that. So yeah, he's impressive. Again, they just keep rotating the running backs so much though that despite Cardwell having the experience, for Oregon anyways, the experience for Oregon with the new staff, we can't figure out, um, you know, who's best. Because yeah, Irving looked great. He had some broken tackles, in the I believe it's third drive or fourth drive. I have it on notes, but they kind of all run together. But yeah, Irvin and Whittington look really good tonight. Hassenberger. Well, I missed that in my notes somewhere. Damn it, late night games. I only catch everything so much. Yeah, well, that's it. Both Irvin and Whittington's a little bigger, but Irvin's definitely a little slimmer. I think he's a little smaller on the, so he can slip through stuff. Um, yeah, Franklin did look really good tonight. He had some good catches. They went from fourth down, and especially for a first down to Franklin in the third drive, which I thought was very good. Just to show that aggression to keep it up. Like we're on the move. We've scored twice in a row. Why not? Let's go for it again. And you know, Uh, maybe I think they're still trying to figure out schematically with the formations what works best. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do still. It seems like that. That's why they're moving so much and trying to do so many different, like there's no solid play calling. Like again, look at, just for instance, where do we go? Second or third drive, or third drive. They had a lot of good stuff. Irving stiff arm handoff. Bo Nix had a read option. I didn't see one other read option that I can remember off the top of my head during the game. One. Why? We're saving it as a special for later. Maybe that, or they just don't want to run it that much. I don't know. But that seems to be Dillingham's style. So why are we only running it like once, twice a game? We should be running it like 5 times a game. We don't need to overkill it, but 5 times I think is enough. And that keeps the defense honest to have to watch for that. So rotating running backs just could be finding the fit, or yes, exactly. Maybe one's better of a catcher out of the backfield, but you don't want that one to be known as a better pass catcher, because then the defense just goes, oh, he's gonna, get a swing route or something like that, or wheel route. You don't want that. So I don't know. We can't. If we could get into the coaches' minds, that'd be amazing. But I don't think that we can't. So we just have to accept what it is and hope for the best and hope that they're just scheming correctly. But tonight was 1,000 times better. Yes, it was Eastern Washington. Mark is going to cut these videos down and try to milk my pain like he did last week, but there's no pain tonight. No pain, Mark. No pain. Stop it. So it was a really good game, though. This is exactly what we wanted as Duck fans to see. This is exactly what we wanted to see, and we needed to see it to build a little confidence. Yes, Cam getting a touchdown was good. Let me see here. And my notes are so all over the place. I can't read my own handwriting. It is terrible. I have so many notes and it's awful. I'm not even going to bother to read them anymore. I'm just going to take this whole notebook and just put it aside. There's no point at this point. Connolly, the whole secondary O-line that they said late third quarter, they switched out the entire O-line with all second and third string. They look good. They still held up. And that was the one positive from last week. Even against Georgia, they held up. The whole O-line has held up very well. So credit to all those big boys on the line, because that was one of our concerns was, I think in the fall practices, was hearing the whole O-line was getting dinged up. You don't not want to hear about people getting dinged up before the season even starts. So to see the whole O-line holding up, Walk tonight seemed to get a little banged up a little bit, but he apparently he seems to be fine. So I think they just switched out the O-line out of precaution later in the game, which totally understandable. When you're up like 49-7, you don't need to have your starters in there anymore. Let them go. Let them take a break. But next week will be an exciting matchup as we host the BYU Cougars. That will be an amazing matchup. I am just so happy it's in Autzen. If it was in Provo, I might be a little bit more concerned. It's not gonna be easy. I'm not. Don't doubt the Cougars. But if it was not in Autzen, I would be very concerned. Just So it will be a very interesting game next week. I wish I was around to see it. I will not be around to see it. I am going to be out of town again next weekend, so I apologize for that. But this event that I will be at is literally 2 years planned. Plus, it just kept getting delayed because of certain things we will not talk about on this channel because YouTube does not like that type of comments. Yeah, I wish we could all be there. I wish I could be. I can't even watch it live next week. So that's why I said next week we may have a live show here on the Voice of College Football for that game, a post game, live post game. We may not. We may have one Sunday, or we may have one Monday morning. So not a post game, but kind of a review. It just depends on if we have someone available next Saturday or Sunday. I will be available next Monday, so we will just take it from there and see how it goes. I can't wait to watch the game, but I will be very preoccupied next Saturday night down in San Antonio, Texas. So I will watch the game late Sunday night when I get back, or Monday morning. But this is exactly the game I think everyone here would agree. This is exactly what the Duck fans needed as to a game, because we needed a good bounce back. Plus, home opener in Autzen. You gotta love Autzen. The stadium was rocking. That's exactly what the fans needed. The coaching staff needed this as a good refocus, scheme game. Players needed to build their confidence back up after last week, and that we achieved everything with this game. And hopefully we can continue to build on this for next week, because BYU is not going to be easy. BYU is a good team. It doesn't matter. BYU is a good team. They're going to be ready for this game, even in Autzen. So we cannot take them lightly. And I think that is the biggest thing, is this coaching staff says, do not take a team lightly. Remember, last time we played Eastern Washington, that was a different Eastern Washington team. They put like 42 points on us in Autzen. Tonight, 14 points. Different team, granted. So we're not going to compare the teams. But I would much rather see our defense holding the 14 total than 42. So much better defensive display and offensive play. Everyone looked better in sync tonight. And it's only going to improve from here, I think. And that's the biggest thing, again. A lot of people forget the Georgia game. Yes, that sucked. But again, remember, Chip Kelly and Mario Cristobal both lost to Boise State their first game. Continue to remember that. Now, when the bad is landing and losing to Georgia, like the score, but everyone, they lost those two games as their head coaching debuts. Lanning lost against Georgia. And then look what happened after that. So take that as a reminder that it's better to do it, lose it now, deal with the pain, rip the Band-Aid off, and go, now we build this shit. Language. Sorry. Now we build it. That's the whole point. So, all right, guys. It is after midnight here, but I appreciate everyone here. Please like and subscribe to the Voice of College Football here on the Oregon channel. To Mark Rogers, join the Patreon. I'm exploring with Ben. I am Ben. There's Sam, the other guy. And you can follow us here. I will drop the link in the chat. It is also in the description of the video. Follow us there on YouTube. We appreciate you. And let's go Ducks. Next week, BYU, not going to be an easy task. But we'll see you guys next